Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of our podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about staff development and how we built the dream team to what a Camp Caroline staff looks like, because I think towards year 5 and year 6, we just had the best group of staff members, and it was so important to us because that's, where it starts and how the bond happens at camp, right, Ashley?
Yeah, most definitely. We had lots and lots of girls come in and help us out, and it was just a great time, and we were all super close and really just wanted to make sure the kids had the best week. And in having that bond, the kids just all, got super close and just had the best week together.
Yeah, and so by, I would say, year 4 and year 5, we had about 6 girls that were consistent. And, through, as we got older, there was a little bit less summer availability, so some would drop in and drop out and have less time during camp. Mm-hmm. But we had about 6 consistent staff members, and we all grew as a team, and we bonded so closely. And that was, one of the things really important to me. When I first started Camp Caroline, I didn't really have a ton of help. It was kind of just me running this whole thing with this dream. And so after year 1, after Winnie the Pooh, we ran it from my house and from the bottom level of our basement. I realized that I was going to need a lot more people to help me out. This wasn't a one-man show for sure, and I would be nothing without these staff members today. So Ashley was my first recruit, my very best friend, and it was really important to me that everybody who was doing this with me understood theater like I did, and had a background in theater, because that was, the primary base of camp. And it was also really important that we were all like-minded, and we were going to make this experience the best for the kids. And we wanted to, of course, put on the best show that we could, but we also wanted kids to come back, and we wanted them to have fun. So it was a balance of an experience, and we had a balance of different people of different skill levels. So Ashley is the creative mind genius behind everything Camp Caroline. She is so good at marketing, and she's so detail oriented. She's really good at planning and really good at schedules. So she is kind of the person that keeps everything in check. And we just kind of became the 2 people behind the scenes of all this magic. And Ashley was we were I don't know, in it together. We were
sure.
The Camp Caroline show, and she would have the schedule planned out, and I would be the spokesperson for it.
Yes, definitely.
So we were just 2 peas in a pod and running this thing, and then, I would have a friend from theater. She would have somebody she thinks would be good, and it wasn't really we wouldn't, these were our friends. We weren't going to interview them or whatever, but we would kind of ask them in a way that it wasn't anybody could be a Camp Caroline staff,
Yeah. It was definitely a great opportunity. After I saw the first show and I knew you're going to want to do the camp again, it was definitely not really a question in my head of if I wanted to be involved. So I definitely joined in the second year, and like Caroline said, I just love doing everything behind the scenes. I love planning and organizing everything, and then Caroline is the face of the camp and did all the promos and stuff. So we definitely both have different strengths that made us a really good team to work together. And then obviously I think when it came to the shows themselves, Caroline would do a lot of in terms of teaching the kids. Caroline was really good at doing all the blocking, and I think I kind of helped out with blocking too. Mm-hmm. And then we had different counselors for different things. Allie, who we'll hear from later, she did a lot of the music because she's super, super talented as a musician. And then we have our friend Killian, who's a super talented dancer, who would help the kids learn the dances and come up with choreo for them. So yeah, all of us just had different strengths that contributed to the team and just made it a really good week.
Right, and it's hard to explain to somebody that's never seen one of the shows or been a theater kid to really understand how much work we put into this. Mm-hmm. But it was really important for us that this show ran a regular show. We wanted to give these kids the theater experience, and all of us were theater kids.
Yeah, so we understood.
We knew what needed to be done and how a regular theater camp would run, because me and Ashley used to grow up going to theater camps. So that was really important. And the other, I think, biggest thing for us was that we were all friends. Mm-hmm. Because,
Definitely.
A staff that doesn't like each other, doesn't work well together, isn't going to run well for a camp. So we would have, what did we call them? Counselor meetings?
Yeah, we had meetings throughout the year.
All throughout the year. They were really, half 30-minute talk about camp, and then everything else just hang out. We would go shop for costume supplies and stuff together. That was my favorite one. We would go to Goodwill and buy all the costumes together, and we would make it a little bit like a scavenger hunt of who could find what thrifted costumes the best. And then
we also had the Christmas meeting where we got we did like White Elephant, got each other gifts. That
Annual
was so
Christmas
much fun.
meeting was so fun.
So yeah, we definitely like.
We had a Valentine's Day party one year.
Oh yeah,
Do you
the
remember
Valentine's one was so.
That was
fun.
really fun. It was just literally like a party.
But yeah, it was definitely important that the team was bonded so that we could go into the week strong and make sure that all the kids had the best time. But yeah.
Right, and everybody brought different strengths to the table, and that was so important. So first, we're going to hear from our counselor, Allie Powell, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her experience and what she loved about camp and what, strengths she brought to the table. Hey guys, we're back here with Counselor Allie. And she was our main music director for 5 years of Camp Caroline, so we're so excited to have her share a little bit of that side on our podcast here today. Thanks for being on here, Allie.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited.
So how did you get started with Camp Caroline, and what kind of made you want to be a counselor?
Well, me and Caroline, we did musicals together. I think our first show together was my 5th grade year, your 4th grade year, and then I had heard about you directing these shows, and you did Winnie the Pooh, and I just wanted to be a part of it. I just thought it was so cool, and getting to help other kids do something that I love doing and direct them, and that kind of made me want to start doing it.
Totally, yeah. And Allie was super into music, and you still are, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Allie's so she's super awesome and really good at singing and guitar and all the things. So that's a skill that I do not have. So she brought that into the theater aspect of Camp Caroline, which was so awesome. Yeah. And then, what was your favorite show or favorite memory or anything specific you have?
I loved The Secret Life of Pets. I think that the way you wrote that whole entire thing, it was adorable, and all the songs together that, I don't know, it was just a amazing show. That was my favorite show that we did.
It was a
costumes
really
wise too. It was really cute.
Yeah, with all the animal ears and everything.
Yeah, it was so cute.
And then, what was your biggest lesson or takeaway from being a counselor?
It gave me a different aspect from being I used to be the one that was being directed, and then I kind of switched over to being the director. Well, you're the director, but I, helped out with that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, it kind of gave me a different aspect, and it helps me with my own performances and being oh, I have this taste of directing an actual show side rather than just being in a show. So it helps me a lot with, I don't know, my own musicals that I was a part of.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Allie.
Of course. I'm so glad I did this.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you on the podcast.
Yay.
Hi guys, it's Ashley, and I'm back here with Killian.
Hey y'all.
Killian did choreo for camp for, it was for 5 years or
yeah.
I don't know, it was for a long time.
Yeah, 5.
But how'd you get started with camp, and what made you want to be a counselor?
Well, so me and Caroline were really close in elementary school. Me, Caroline, and Ashley. We're all our own little trio.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started doing this Camp Caroline thing, and I also started, well, we did theater all together, but I also started to get a lot more into dance. And so when we would put together the shows, I would always ask if I could choreograph the dances, because I started to have a huge interest in that. And yeah, we just kept doing the shows, and it was just a lot of fun to choreograph.
It was a great time, and all the kids obviously I feel dancing is so much fun to learn.
Yeah.
And they'd all get so excited, and all the dances were super cute. Killian, do you have a favorite show that we did at camp, or one that was super fun to choreograph?
I feel my favorite had to be Inside Out, because you had all the different characters and emotions, so it was fun to choreograph around what each emotion had. For anger, you could do some funny movements for that.
And how do you think Camp Caroline has impacted you as a person and helped you as a dancer?
I'd say it was a big part of my life in the leadership aspect. It helped me a lot with learning how to be a leader, and also listening to others' ideas, especially because a lot of us that helped run Camp Caroline had to get together and collab with our ideas and stuff like that. And I'd also say in the dance world, it helped me see a lot of choreographers' visions and kind of how to trust the process and things like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with me, Killian.
Of course.
And that was episode 4. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's podcast. Stay tuned for next week for episode 5, where it is titled All About the Kids, and you will get new perspectives of campers from Camp Caroline to hear truly what camp was about, the children. See you guys next week. Bye!